So here's the take-home message. Sex differences in behavior are quite real, but they tend to be much more subtle statistically than the Mars-Venus idea. And every sex difference we look at is a lot smaller in children. And so that tells us that there is, to some degree, a role of cultural learning in creating the difference between men and women. There really is no such thing as a male brain or female brain. I teach neuroanatomy to medical students. We pull brains out of formaldehyde buckets all the time. I got to do this on Wednesday morning, and I can tell you, you can't tell whether it's a male brain or female brain. There's nothing about the structure that's different. However, there are differences at the microscopic level, and these tend to be on this, what we would call statistical, not categorical. None of the differences define male and female as differently as genitalia or chromosomes, for example. Innate factors like genes and hormones do bias certain behaviors. I'll talk about those, but ultimately, the behaviors that we are most acutely aware of, differences in school performance, differences in emotional sensitivity, ultimately, we can trace all of these to an important role for learning and practice. Practice. What you do with your brain is what it's good at. And you need to think about that starting when children are first born. So a quick little primer on brain development. The brain develops through this blend of nature and nurture, of course. That's before birth, when even subtle environmental influences can alter the developmental trajectory, what the mother's eating or chemicals she may be exposed to. But it's really the nurture side of this that we have any influence over. And in neuroscience, we've adopted this term plasticity, this lovely plastic that you can turn into milk jugs and playground equipment and grocery bags, that ultimately explains how our brains learn anything, how we do anything beyond the most basic brainstem reflex, but like sucking and swallowing. Everything else we do, we thinking and talking and remembering, is learned through changes in brain structure called plasticity. And there's two little rules of cells that fire together, wire together. So if there's electrical activity in a circuit, there's actual sprouting of the synapses and an increased connection between two neurons. And conversely, there's this use it or lose it rule.